What's up guys, in this graphic design fundamentals video I basically want to give you a quick crash course in graphic design and try and teach you as much as I've learned in the past 15 years of working in the design industry. I myself went to university, I studied graphic design, I was in college, I did graphic design, I got a first class honours, and then I went on into the real world. And there's different, graphic design is quite a broad subject, so I'm going to talk about just some fundamentals on how you can improve your designs effectively and what graphic design is like in the real world. So myself, I was very into photography early on. I then graduated and went to work in print magazines and then digital magazines, and then so that was with Wired and Vogue when they were early on with Condé Nast, and then I moved on into the digital industry and made some websites for some huge companies. So I'm going to talk about what I've learned and some of the foundations that you need to know about graphic design. So let's just jump straight in with some fonts. So you might have heard, or you might know, there's two different types of fonts. So there's called serif font and sans serif font. This is really at its basis. This is a really good example. So these two different types of font come from different art movements. So all serif means is it's this cursive bit at the end of the letter effectively, and sans means without. So sans serif is without the cursive bit and serif is with the cursive bit. So sans serif comes from, it's more of a Swiss movement in design. It's more modern in its approach. It works better on screens. These serif fonts are more traditional. They work great in print. Let me just show you where you'll use the differences. So I'll show you a cover of Vogue magazine for an example. So this is a serif font. See the way it's got the cursive bits at the end, and it really works great for, let's just have a look at another cover here. So it really works great for like the title of a company or a very large heading at the top. And then you see a lot of these are in, so these are sans serif ones, they're a lot more simple, but the main headlines are in the serif font. Again, it'll probably be the same on other ones. This one, they've gone for the whole cover. This is Vogue España, they've gone for the whole cover in sans serif. Let's take a look at this one. There you go. So you got your sans serif font here, a lot more modern, and then you got your traditional one at the top. And that's really where you start your graphic design journey. So you learn about fonts, you learn about what the differences are between them. Then that moves into typography and how typography has changed over the years. If you type in typography to graphic design typography into Google and go to images and take a look at this image in particular, this is really good for understanding what everything means in the type itself, because you'll use graphic design programs. So we use Adobe mainly as the people who make the programs, and in all their tools there'll be like point size, there'll be all this terminology about what's going on with the type, and that's something that you can learn just by googling it and taking a look. So typography, there's two fundamental differences in it, and you can go into this route if you want. So that's just something I just wanted to quick on touchly. The next thing is color. So a great place to get your colors is color.adobe.com, and then just go to trends or explore. And color is a fundamental important design it's a fundamental thing in all graphic design. When you're normally doing a design, you might want to choose a color palette, and that's you don't want to do too many colors. You want to choose maybe 5 or 6, which all have a common theme running through. So you can see this is a really good website to get them. So they've got loads of different images, and they actually break down the colors that they've used. And if you go into it, you'll be able to copy and paste the colors and put them into your own design. So this looks like a nice color palette. If I click this, these are hex codes, and what hex codes, there's different ways of interpreting color online. Hex code is a computer's code for what the color is. You might also see RGB values, which is 6 numbers, and that is RGB is the different red, green and blue values. Basically that used to tell printers how to print. and a hex code is a more digital focused way of doing that. I just wanted to show you a really good graphic design, which is my favorite color. So I used to work for Wired magazine a couple of years ago, and I remember they always have like a strong graphic style, and when they released this The Web is Dead episode in the US, they had this amazing vibrant orange in the background. So I think it's great to use flat color whenever you want, but this picture doesn't really do it justice because it absolutely popped in real life, and that was a different type of color. That was called a Pantone color. So Pantone is a company who actually prints. They do a lot of stuff for magazines, and you'll probably see them if you go into, like, you can get these Pantone color charts of all these different colors of when you want paint for your house or different things. But that's a different type of color, so that's not made with red, green, blue. It's not like a traditional inkjet printer. They actually mix these colors. So Pantone have their very own colors and color charts, and the way you have to go on their website to get your own Pantone color. So you put in a hex code and they'll spit out their own version of it that you then use in your design. So I just wanted to show you that. I just want to show you quickly something that I did a while ago. So I'm a huge Liverpool fan, and maybe about 10 years ago I wanted to make a magazine for Liverpool, just as like kind of like a graphic design piece. But you see the way I used this really strong red in the background. So that was a Pantone colour, and that kind of popped like the wide one. So another website I wanted to show you is Behance.net. This is a great website for any graphic designer. If you're getting into the industry, you can go in there, you can type whatever you want in, and you can have a look what other people are doing. I always use it to check out what's going on with other designers. So if you, I've just typed in graphic design typography, you can take a look and see some of the beautiful work that's going on, and it might give you inspiration to do some of your own designs. So that's just something I wanted to check out. Another important thing in graphic design is photography. Photography is its own specialist subject. When I was in college, I focused heavily on photography. I'm just trying to find if I've got any of my own photography on here. I don't think so, but photography is such a great art form in itself, and I wanted to show you this website. It's unsplash.com. So if you go on there and you type in something like mountain, for example, and it'll have a load of images, hundreds of images that come up by photographers, but they're all royalty free. So whenever you do your work, there's just a bit of advice. You need to use royalty free images, because you can't just go on Google and copy and paste an image and put it into your design. If you do that, there's lots of licensing issues, and you can get taken to court, and you can get your website taken down. You really want to stay away from using other people's images. So check out unsplash.com, go on their website, and they just have a load of free images that you can use. And sometimes if you want to, you can accredit the photographer. It's always good to do that if you ever get the chance to give back. And the best thing about Unsplash is it's all free, but it's also high quality. All the photos are beautiful. They're really, really well done, and it's a site where I get all of my photography from. I find it a great source, and there's so much on there. You can just type in whatever you want, and you'll find hundreds of photos. And then the last thing I just wanted to touch in this crash course is illustration. So illustration's another route you can go down as a designer. Whereas I went in print design, we used to hire a lot of illustrators. They'd do illustrations for the magazines, like I showed you the football magazine that I just did then. If I go back into it, you can see every page had an illustration with it. Illustration's a passion for many people. They use Adobe Illustrator to put these designs together. And I just wanted to quickly show you this website called undraw.co. This is a great place where you can get illustrations. These are all royalty free again, very similar to Unsplash, so it's quite easy to remember them. They're all done by the same illustrator. They're all royalty free. You can use them in your designs. It's a style that never goes away, and it might be something that you want to check out yourself if you're into graphic design. Maybe think about an illustration path. That's something that I know a lot of people are interested in, and there's lots of scope for work in the future, especially as freelancing becomes more popular and you can get commission online. We used to, all our illustrators used to work remotely. Some of them were on the other side of the world, and we'd just send them briefs and they'd send us back work. So I think, especially if you have your own style of illustration, like all of these, you see the bubbles and the purples, and they all have a unique thing in common. If you can craft your own style with illustration, you can maybe go into logo and branding and agency work. That's definitely something that's there for you. So yeah, that's just a quick overview of some of the main things in graphic design. Check out school.anthonyconboy.com. I've got loads of free tutorials and resources on there as a designer. I focus on UX and UI, which is web design, making it really simple, easy to use. But go on there, check it out. Let me know in the comments if you like this video. Think about subscribing. I'm going to be putting out lots more content. Let me know what you think. And until next time, keep designing.